the rebellious Numas kingdom utterly crushed underfoot, and the corruption of Nagash's followers purged by blade and the searing wrath of Ptra's light, Settra has once again united the lands of the dead under his illustrious banner. The great king of Khemri never rests, but time was spent raising new soldiers to replace those lost in battle, and giving orders to the Necrotax, rebuilding the splendor of Khemri in Settra's vision. Nekaph and Apophis were dispatched to gather information about the current state of Nehekharan cities, now being jealously guarded by lesser kings. Settra was disgusted to find that more of Nagash's followers had secured a stronghold in Ka-Sabar, and were slowly bringing the corruption of the hated vampires to the surrounding lands. Equally concerning was the growing might of a war host of Khorne, led by an especially violent bloodthirster. They were busy ripping orcs asunder and spilling rivers of crimson in the blood god's name. Settra knew that they would not be content with just the skulls of the greenskins for long. Preparations must be made if he wanted to keep Nehekharans from decorating the Skull Throne. Welcome on back to the Land of the Dead. Settra does not rest. It is a turn later. I have chucked out the open graves that was already here at the Springs of Eternal Life, and we have rebuilt in a mortuary house that shall go in one turn. We just want to get as much growth as we can for our overall settlements. I also went ahead and, like I said, sent Nekaph out to kind of scout, seeing what's going on down here in the south. Looks like it is overtaken by Mannfred. He has actually moved over and claimed Bagar. This has all the way out to Antak, which he also claimed, which is probably where Mannfred himself is. That puts him at odds with Volkmar, who's hiding over here in the darkness here. I had thought about vassalizing Volkmar or beating him down into submission. If he only claims a city that has no strategic locations for us, then yes, Volkmar can be folded into our empire. The problem is, Volkmar's entire strategy is about taking the books of Nagash that belong to Settra and purifying them, so that way we can no longer use the power within. So Volkmar himself kind of is an enemy to Settra no matter what. So even if we leave him alive, he's still going to be kind of hunting around and trying to get those books purified. So Volkmar may have to be a heretical empire faction that gets purged. The empire to the north, they can fall under Settra's wing, but the one down here in the south, they're fools and must be annihilated. Settra himself has some skill points. I passed out the others to Apophis, and the others just making their overall combat prowess stronger. That is all I really am worried about for them right now. Later on, they'll be used for their hero capabilities, but not for now. For Settra, I would like to give him the Sun-Scorched Bones. I'm going to go 2 points into Sun-Scorched Bones, and then come down here to Route Marcher. Next, we're going to finish off the Bones, and then get towards Master Charioteers. I would like his Anvil to be as sturdy as possible, giving out extra 6 armor and 4 melee defense for all of our Nehekhara any of our skeleton units. And then some additional melee defense, armor piercing, and charge bonus once we do end up picking up some of those Tomb Scorpions or Tomb Swarms, rather. The Kepler Beetles. It is time, though, to declare war on Ka-Sabar. Before we do, I was going to run over one last thing. To the north, Khorne is rampaging around up here. We can see that there's a Khornate force occupying Death Gorge. This is Skarbrand. Settra does not yet know this is Skarbrand, but we do. Gorgazon and Agrul Midhal are in his line of sight, as well as it looks like this has been turned into a blood ground all the way down to Numas. So they have claimed, whichever beastman herd that's up here has claimed Numas as their own. That is despicable and shall not be tolerated. Numas belongs to the Tomb Kings alone. Also means we have to keep an eye out, because they're going to be coming down here to try to smack Numas later on. So the plan is, Settra is going to move as quickly as he can, smash Ka-Sabar, and then try to bring this guy into a fight. We just need to delete their armies. Their armies are their only source of damage to us, since the settlements are all going to be field battles. Defeating the zombies on the field are going to be quite simple. Let's bring Settra down. We'll bring him just close enough to Melchior here. And then we'll have Nekaph jump into his army, and hopefully that doesn't mess up the movement range. We'll see. Be good, Nekaph. We need the Herald. Beautiful. And now we declare war and let the vampire purge begin. Oh, he ran. This is something I did not expect. Oh, he's going to be reinforcing army now. Fair enough. We're going to still attack Ka-Sabar. It's going to give us a valiant defeat. Hiding behind the walls are many, many skeletons. But the Black Knights are going to be constricted behind those walls, and we have a good bit of artillery, and while our chariots also are going to be constricted, they can smash through things a little bit easier. Especially under Settra's control with all of the heroes that we do. They are lacking on heroes. We need a Papist to do some sniping. We're probably going to do some sneaky maneuvers and just kind of hang out, wait for the reinforcements to show up, and then crush them underfoot. Yes. Ka-Sabar must fall back under Settra's control. Ka-Sabar, also known as the City of Bronze, was the patron city of Geheb. Known as an industrial powerhouse, the artisans of Ka-Sabar made themselves rich mining copper and forging bronze tools, armor, and weapons for their own use and for export in the lands abroad. The city's forges were known to light up the eastern sky at night, and a seemingly perpetual blanket of dense smoke hung in the air above. The warriors were said to tower over the normal men, and have skin as hard as the bronze work the area was so well known for. And despite all this, the city was ultimately destroyed by Arkhan the Black at the time of Nagash, and has since earned the new name of the Temple of Sorrow. And welcome to the Purge of Ka-Sabar. We'll get things going in slow motion, and I will start kind of laying down the tactics. So I have all of our lords up front, except for Prince Nebethar. They're all going to be charging directly on in, trying to smash down those gates. I have a smaller contingent of the Hawk Legion and the warriors, as well as all of our archers. These two are going to be attacking the main city, and this two contingent of archers are going to be rotating over to help out with our defending force that is going to be holding the pass from this reinforcing army. It's a pretty weak overall army, so I figure our halberds and the Zandri Black Shields will have no trouble holding, especially if we're able to rain down some souls from the Joff Scorn in the meantime. The plan was to just kind of bombard away at this group of Graveguard with our spells, any kind of damage spells, and the Joff Scorn magical artillery, and then send our cavalry crews in, the chariots, to knock down the gates and just spread the defenders thin, capture those points on the way in. Should be getting a volley from the Scorn very soon. Grit of Usirian. There it goes. Blasting on in. Did some pretty good damage too, hitting both units thankfully. The Usirian spell does actually slow units down, so allows the artillery to actually make contact. Settra is knocking at the gate with Nekaph as well. No, that's not Nekaph, that is Apophis. They'll be getting through that gate pretty quickly, much faster than the chariots do. Got the forces rotating around to get into position here. I wanted these guys to act as a flanking force. Still going to be a bit before the enemy does show up, but we just wanted to get ready. I sent the Zandri Black Shields forward in phalanx formation as well. Got some bombardment over the walls. They've decided to turn their tails and run, getting shot in the back with arrows. Never usually a good strategy. But that's not where the action's happening. Settra has now busted the gates down. It's time to show them who the true king is. Charging straight in, wasting no time. And vaporizing any that remain with Ptra's light. Nekaph charging in on the other side to keep anyone from flanking our boys. Crypt Horrors, though, have charged on down. Crypt Ghouls, I believe these are, not Horrors. If it was Crypt Horrors, they would be much, much scarier. But they will be able to hold no problem. The enemy forces have arrived only to receive a bombardment of souls. I think the lads can hold just fine against this horde of skeletons. Black shields are ready. First volley of arrows goes away. I hadn't quite targeted them yet, so it was hitting into the shields quite ineffectively at first. Still getting some damage, but not as much as it could be. hordes rush in. Another blast away. That was what I was waiting for. They are going to go ahead and drop an Invocation of Nehek to keep that healed. There are 3 Necromancers there, so there will be quite a bit of healing, but we have so many strong, powerful troops that they won't get through that, and they will get whittled away by the artillery regardless. Pappas and Settra are an unstoppable combo. And then some Nehekhara warriors have charged on in on the rear there and started slicing through the ghouls. Taking some Wendigo skulls. Cleaving them in twain, heads going flying. Some more reinforcing troops on over. We have the chariots that have broken on in. Prince Nebethar is basically holding them back. They had gotten bogged down for a moment. We'll leave him in here and let him do as much damage as he can. He's holding down 2 units by himself here. Sent the chariots up to capture the point and get rid of these towers that were blasting away at us, as well as get rid of those fellbats. Chariots are basically through on all sides here, and they're just surging in to claim points. All of the capture points belong to Settra. Over here where the real fighting's going on. We've got Nehekhara warriors facing off against skeletons. Not a battle these skeletons want to fight. Doomguard holding back hordes of zombie mass. These are the Doomguard with Deathblow and Frostbite, so anything that is contacting them is slowing down, and they're not enjoying any kind of combat with our Doomguard. Laundry Black Shield's absorbing some friendly fire, but ultimately they're doing a really good job of avoiding blasting our own units. Pappas and Settra have defeated the Graveguard, and Settra has moved on in to claim that point, while the rest of the forces deal with the remaining Black Knights and massive skeletons. Get in here on the front line. Plenty of spells going out. Still harrying them from beyond the walls of the arrows. Since they are turned their backs to them, the arrows should be getting right behind those shields. They'll be completely ineffective. Most of the enemy forces is phasing away. Their leadership is destroyed, and as these guys do the Necromancer jitter, strapped up with some corpses on their backs. They're making no friends at parties.
As it should.
Another blast. I'm going to be switching targets on Wrath of Khorne to help out with the main body force. The chariots are claiming positions as they should. We'll just zoom on in here and let the battle commence. Office is just covered, or at least surrounded in a pile of bodies. His magic and just incredibly high weapon strength rending the Black Knights asunder. Every time Settra is casting that ability, it's making Nekaph's already considerable melee attack even higher. That is closing in on wrapping up the battle. Nebethar's forces succeed on this front as well. And it's just the Necromancers over here who are having a really bad day. And that is the Purge of Ka-Sabar. A powerful statement to the beginning of our war with the undead Drakenhof Conclave. We lost 174 and we were able to split our forces and crush them both. Without too much trouble there at all. 592 kills going to our Casket of Souls. It is the MVP for sure. Sack, now we're here to claim back our lost lands. Gained a new Cultist of Osirian for Prince Nebethar. All of their lords hopefully were killed in that battle. Looks like they were all destroyed. So the difficult part with the vampire counts here is they're going to be recruiting up forces pretty much from anywhere they want. They can raise dead and they can recruit troops at the same time, and there are plenty of undead buried beneath the sands of the lands of the dead here. I mean, the rivers run with blood, so we will wait on the upgrading. We want to spend the growth on Kimri here in about 3 turns. Settra gains some skill points from conquering Ka-Sabar, so we'll go ahead and pass those out. I think we are going to grab an additional damage over time, or a direct damage spell. We'll go for Sunscorched Bones and then the Master Charioteers next, but we just would like to have an additional damage spell. We have one already on Prince of Apophis. It'd be nice to have 2 of those going down at the same time. Damage and slowing them down. For the Prince, I believe we would like to give him an additional point into training. Since he is the captain of the Royal Chariot Guard, he should be training them up daily. And then his other point we want to go into hard to hit. He's already pretty tanky, but a nice 51-51 spread. And a bonus versus Lars means he's going to be very hard to take down. Nekaph, the Herald of Settra. We've gained his worthy inspiration point. That's going to give us leading from the front. Nekaph advances towards his foes, cleaving them asunder. As the bodies of the enemy stack up, the undead legions continue their implacable advance. His entire army +3 melee attack and +4 defense. The second point giving that, bumping that up rather to 6 and 8. We'll grab both of those points, make the entire army much better. Get to training. We've unlocked Hematologist for Apophis. Apophis has made the study of bringing death to the living his immortal work. He has studied the living in detail as to better to know how to end them. The blood of the living, the waters of life, fascinate him, and it's doubtful even the greatest of the mortal doctors of Altdorf has a complete of knowledge of him, his blood. No mortal man can hope to stand against Apophis. As we have found out, that would give him an additional 20% chance to assassinate and 20 melee attack when fighting against humans. We haven't come into contact with any human factions just yet. Volkmar is on the horizon there, so we may grab that soon, but for now, I think we want to make him even more murderous. And then he does struggle a little bit with getting hit back. So I think we'll grab hard to hit just to increase that a little bit.
Do not invoke the gods around Settra. They bow to me.
And a series of the bowmen have arrived. They would like a non-aggression pact. I mean, that's probably not a bad idea. They're at war with nobody. Problem is, I'm a bit hesitant to make a deal with them. I'm pretty sure Antok counts as one of their forests. So if we don't come over here and claim this one before they do, that'll be problems. We may have to switch over, instead of attacking Bagar, go after Antok first. We will definitely need to come over here and crush Eugene before he's able to continue to recruit up forces, since he can gain them from anywhere. But I think for now, to just keep less enemies off our doorstep, we will take a non-aggression and he'll pay us a single coin for it. And the turn once again falls to us. Looks like Eugene is not quite out of range, but he's not in march stance, which means he's going to be able to escape. Before I click the attack order, garrison at the Springs of Eternal Life is still recovering, so if they were to be attacked, they would be annihilated. So as much as I would prefer not to chase them off here, we are going to do so. We also have to keep in mind that Mannfred is around here somewhere, most likely hanging out in Antok, so he'll be rotating over to fight us shortly. Oh, there he is there. Fighting out in Bagar. Yeah, they have retreated as we expected. What we are going to do is recruit up some more forces, or we could jump over into march stance, because we're fine kind of with the troops we have. We're closing in on with Kimri here. So the plan, I was going to raise up the Golden Host of Mahrak, these skeleton warriors that have the Nehekhara wedge. And they are pure gold, have some gold, silver shields and 80 armor. Very good. We need golden idols in order to recruit them. They've got to be able to wade through that gold. We're going to come over here to Kimri, chuck in the gold mine. It's going to be expensive, but we can afford it for now. And then the other thing we want is... this building doesn't give us any actual bonuses till later on, but it will generate Canopic jars passively. Additionally, I'd kind of like to get Ushabti, and Spolkle Stalkers are not for us. It's only for if you are Court of Labaris. So we only get the Ushabti, which are very good. Not in Settra's army, because we're mostly using warriors. We've got all those buffs towards warriors. We're just any normie skeletons. I think it may be a good idea to grab instead this line so we can start working on Tomb Guard. We get Tomb Guard in this tier, and then the ones with halberds and everything else in the further tier, I believe with the great weapons as well. Here they are. And that'll be amazing. One step further is the Royal Guard, which are archers as well as spearmen. And then the Ancient Tomb Mummies, which are similar to the Aspiring Champions. There's just much more of them. I think, yeah, we'll go for Open Graves, and then upgrade the Funerary District. Then we've just got to wait the 2 turns till we have enough growth to upgrade Kimry to a Mausoleum. Here at Ka-Sabar, take a look at our building browser. We are going to have a resource building of the Parched Oasis. Even in the vast desert, there is beacons of hope that give way to phantasms of decay. Oh, we gain growth by people getting lost in the desert. That's amazing. So 4 control, 30 growth, and 100 income. The City of Bronze, Ka-Sabar, was the center of ancient Nehekhara's industry and was home to the fabled lion-headed Ushabti, the Legion of Bronze. We would get an additional 1 to our Ushabti capacity, 100 income, and then less recruit duration for all my units. That's pretty amazing. And also, we've got the Pyramid of Katep. Well, he's been exiled, so his pyramid does belong to us now. Let's scribble off Katep and put Settra on it. The second Pyramid of Settra. Perfect. Yeah, well, we'll keep the growth building in for now. Also got the pastures. I believe that's what the oasis is for them. Okay, well, over at Kimry, since we do still have a little bit of money, let's upgrade the brassworks so we can get the archer chariots back on in. We already lost the one way early in. It'd be very nice to get them back. A new follower flocks to our banner. A highborn of Kimry for Settra, giving us a little bit of extra control. King Nectane Bow is available, as well as the Hierophant. So our lords that were from Numos have decided that they have been awokened after being crushed in battle. They've been reformed. Mannfred has sprinted after Kimry, with Eugene sprinting out into the Black Pyramid. Are you guys very brave to be trespassing on the Black Pyramid of Nagash? The Guardian there is quite mean. He's kind of forced my hand here. Because he has this bridge to get over Kimry on either side, he can go either way if he wants. I was going to come over here and jump into ambush stance, because chances are he's using Kimry as a front to attack the Springs of Eternal Life here. Because it's still weakened. He's smart to pretend to attack Kimry and then jump on this one to get the free win. Not a lot I can do about it, though. We've got to sprint back into Kimry, because Kimry cannot defend itself from Mannfred. Bro, I was just talking about how good you are in battle. Even look at the defenses at Kimry. I still don't trust them. Over here, we can chuck into the Crypt Barracks. Kind of like to make sure we can upgrade this, though, so let's wait to do any major upgrading to our crypts. Since we have the gold in now, though, we can actually awaken the Golden Host of Mahrak, so welcome on in, lads. Your shields will be much appreciated. Even though we are in March stance, we still can recruit them on in, so we will quickly do so. Welcome. No more upgrades to be had. We spent a bit more money than I wanted, so we're still going to be down, but after defeating Mannfred, as long as he actually sticks into fight. Don't be a coward, brother. It's time to earn your stripes. The disappeared. The populace of one of my settlements, excuse me? Anyway, back to the populace of one of my settlements is gradually vanishing. On certain nights, whole ghettos or districts are left abandoned. The only clue for remaining denizens is a triangular symbol daubed on a nearby gate or wall. The Skaven are out and about, snatching up bar skeletons. They use them as toothpicks. Can we reach Mannfred? Oh, you fool. Close enough to the springs where they can help out. Interesting, I feel like he could have made it to the springs, so I'm not sure what the overall play is, besides maybe he wants to get back to Ka-Sabar. Fair enough. I think his ally is hiding out here somewhere, so we'll have to keep an eye on them as well. They can't take down Kimry. Springs, however, different story. But Mannfred, however, your time is now. In life, the Golden Host bore weapons made of a magical golden alloy. In death, they took the namesake even further by walking through pools of the molten gold. coating their bones completely. These foul creatures have no place here, and they shall be burned away with Ptra's wrath. For this battle, we've got a little bit more of a defensive setup and a little bit of an interesting. I was trying something goofy with the chariots here, so I've got the archers out front and all of the beat 'em up blade chariots around, with Nehekhara in the middle. He is the chariot captain after all. And then we've got our artillery and just kind of a unit that's meant to kind of stop up this area and keep them all kind of surrounding on us so we can keep firing on in and rotate these chariots on over to crash into the rear when we are able. The biggest important targets for us to deal with being the Vargheists, which have almost 0 armor, but do an absolute ton of damage. They have 10 armor. They do an absolute ton of damage, so we've got to stop them before they get in and do anything major. Also, the Hex Wraiths being an incredible issue with that. Ethereal, and they've got an insane charge bonus and bonus, or at least armor piercing bonus. So Mannfred charges on in. Getting a Spirit Leech on my archer chariots, doing some free damage on them. Glad it's going to them and not Settra. These were the closest dangerous target. I decided to focus all of the magic on them as well as Wrath of Khorne. Hit a couple hits on them while we could. They move so fast that there's not a lot of opportunity, so that targeting was quickly switched. Just trying to draw them back towards our main line. We could slow them down with a Apophis and hit them with some arrow fire. Just as what happened to these dogs here. Getting the last samurai on their way in. Charging into the golden host of Mahrak. They are completely ready for them. And Nekaph lends his aid. Those dogs will swiftly crumble on away. Mannfred hasn't been engaged by Settra and Apophis, and he is melting away. Master of the black arts he may be, master of the blade he is not. And Mannfred falls. Took him like, what, 15 seconds? No one can stand against Apophis. However, our chariots are having some problems. They are surrounded by Hex Wraiths and Vargheists, and they will soon melt away if they're not able to get out of there. Mainline is still wisely avoiding combat. It's kind of allowing our single entities to absorb all of the main contact, while our arrows can fire on in and weaken them. Not an amazing target for them, but they at least have some charge bonus and they might as well apply it. Save Prince Nehekhara while they can. The lines are finally starting to meet. Skeleton Spearman against Tomb Guard. One of the Tomb Guard should handily win. Especially with the Nehekhara warriors in their midst. We do have to worry about this group of Grave Guards still. There are 2 remaining. Those Hex Wraiths once again caught another group of my chariots. We did lose the archers. And I realized that they were not going to be able to get away, so I sent the Tomb Guard over, left them into combat, sandwiched them between, and these guys should have magical attacks. They do not, but the flaming attacks, being sandwiched between them is no good. They would get crumbled away. White King still charging around, looking for some revenge. Smacks into Apophis's back here. He's going to want to run away before Apophis turns around and realizes he's here, though. He will slay you, undead or no. Wrath of Khorne, making itself felt. Buffs flying out everywhere. There's just a big old horde of skeletons. Not much left to worry about. These guys are wandering on over to help out their Graveguard compatriots. Being filled with arrows, too. Mannfred's army is falling apart all over the place. The Hex Wraith being sandwiched between the 2. They didn't last long at all. Very minimal damage to both forces. And that is a wrap. Mannfred is found wanting. The Lord of Undeath was found wanting. Engaged by Settra in single combat with, I guess not single combat, Prince of Pappas was there to help assassinate, but crushed totally. We did end up losing the Bringers of Death. They served their purpose well. Everyone else did quite well, the Golden Host scoring 44 kills, they didn't do too bad. 147 this time going to our Casket of Souls, but nice spread of kills across the board. This time, we are going to go for the Endless March for that 1060 to the Treasury and 20% additional movement range. Keep us zooming around. We gain the Moon Slaker. He who quenches his thirst on the blood of the living will find cold steel his just reward. Cold Bronze. Attrition, minus 50% from Vampiric Territory Attrition, which is only kind of an issue. That's kind of a meh defeat trait. Be great if it gave you your entire army flaming attacks when fighting against the undead. Terrifying Mask of E. And Prince of Pappas has gained the Dripping Slayer, a forever dripping blade of Prince of Pappas with which he will slayed the entire Numas royal family. Plus 5 attack, 10% weapon strength, 10 additional armor-piercing weapon damage, and the ability Dripping Slayer, giving us another nice weapon buff for 15 seconds. And the Regimental Renown of King Nehekhara's Scorpion Legion has been unlocked. Elite amongst their skeletal peers, these spear-armed warriors are as bloodthirsty as their infamous royal patron, King Nehekhara the Crazy. More skill points to pass on out. We have unlocked Ptra the Great Father, giving us a hero recruit rank +2 for our Tomb Princes. So our Tomb Princes will come in a little bit more elite, and an additional leadership and melee defense for Tomb Guard and Chariot. My Will Be Done also increasing melee defense and attack of any allies in his area for 55 meters. Probably a pretty good one to go for. We'll go for My Will Be Done. Come back for Ptra the Great Father. There are some better ones in here, though. Founder of Khemri would give us access to even more Tomb Princes and give them that additional unlock. Or we could go for more capacity for Tomb Guard, Royal Guard, Tomb Bark, all sorts of stuff. Restless Minions would give us all sorts of new units. Or we could get Trampler of Ages, giving our entire army more speed and charge bonus. I mean, we could really overhaul the army fully right now. Or we could just make them a little bit more fast. That's a tough choice. Let's go for speed for now. And then for Nehekhara, I would like him to continue to be harder to hit in combat. Soon we're going to go for Canopic Jar Hoarder so that we can start accumulating those on the passive. We'll grab hard to hit. Switch over to Nekaph. He has his Sworn Bodyguard, giving him an additional 15% hit points and a ward save of 15%, so we're going to grab that. Make him extra tanky while beating the brakes off of people. For Pappas, we could grab Desert Revenant, giving him Immortal Life, and the ability to regenerate with an additional 20% fire weakness. Doesn't he already have one? I'll jump that up to 35% weak to fire? Gross. Keep him away from the flames. Settra the Imperishable, since we can't move you too much further here, we'll kind of camp out, recruit in some more troops. I'd love some more Archer Chariots. I think I'm going to get rid of the first Hawk Legion. They're going to be replaced with some more Archer Chariots. We've got a full array of chariots rolling around. We have a very, very solid front line as is. We could replace... I'm kind of content with what we have. Luckily, we have these troops for whenever we have another Lord ready on in, which is in 6 turns. We could do the Great Incantation of Ka-Sabar. Not really super necessary right now. Would much rather upgrade Khemri to a Mausoleum. New Moss could also go ahead and throw in some buildings. I'm going to hold off on the Scarab City for now, just because it only really gives us -8 corruption, and gives us some Swarm, capacity later on. I think for now, we will go with the building that just gives us a bit more money. We will replace that later on. I'm happy to upgrade the Catacombs there for an additional. Ka-Sabar will have to wait. We don't have the 1500 needed. Although if we stop upgrading both of these buildings, do we? Nope. Go back to doing what we're doing then. Keep growth moving on up in the province that we care about. Eugene has moved on Kimry. That's a force that Kimry could easily defeat. Springs of Eternal Life, once again, will have trouble with it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Settra jump into ambush mode. We're going to hide over here in the Oasis and see if we can't catch this guy sleeping. A little unfortunate that there's not a higher than 40% ambush chance on the other side of the Oasis, but it should be his route in if he goes for it. We'll scoot over just a little bit, make sure we don't miss him. There we go. Settra's going to hide. And then after we defeat this army, we were free to move on to Gar and then Antok. As long as we haven't taken too much time and Orion's camp has moved on Antok, we can only hope. I think the other thing we're going to do is upgrade the Crypt Barracks. So give us 4 more, I guess 2 more unit capacity for archers. And some more Tomb Guard as well. We could replace the Phalanx unit with the Tomb Guard. Or we could go for more overall income. I think additionally we could save the money and then go for the Mastaba here in Ka-Sabar, giving us access to that lost oasis, which I think sounds quite nice to me. We're going to continue to ignore the diplomacy for now. We want to claim back as much of this as we can without making any non-aggression agreements that we don't need to, except for possibly with Karak, the Ironbrow here. So I have not signed any deals with Arachnos as of yet. King Nehekhara is ready for duty, King Omahav is ready for duty, and a whole bunch of others. All of our lords are ready to go. We have issued a mission, the Walkers. Defeat Eugene. The vampires send their wet legions against us, invading the realms of their desert gods. Halt this pathetic invasion. We need to defeat them, gain 1,000, 20 jars, and battle masters. Well, luckily for us, that was what I planned. Since Eugene's going to continue to be obnoxious and attack our lands for no reason. He's a Necroarch vampire, looks like. Maybe I'm a fool and I don't know the... All vampires look the same to Settra. Now we're going to have to trespass on King Ostos' lands, but it's to rid you of a pest, sir. Battle deployment. This is going to be a decisive victory. We could give this one to auto-resolve. Oh, Blood Knights. No, Settra does not auto-resolve. He fights. These fools think they can raid in our lands. It's time to show them that their place is to die. So, the chariots roll on forward. Their most scary unit by far is going to be that unit of Blood Knights. Wanted to definitely overwhelm their mobile forces with our chariots, kind of draw them away from their main body spears, and then immediately turn and run them over once they are isolated. An easy destruction. So Apophis and Settra are running over to fight the Blood Knights there. In an honorable duel, we surround and destroy the doggos and bats, as well as just harry them with our archer chariots. Beautiful shot from Joff's Scorn. Blood Knights are no joke, though, so Settra's taking a good deal of damage. Even though he is bonus versus large, they are doing a lot of damage, so Settra needs to get on out of there before he takes too much. The Golden Host of Mahrak has moved on into Chevron formation, getting ready to charge. The line kind of splitting up, preparing to kind of create a wall over here and stop at least a good deal of the forces and try to build them up. Allowing our archers to fire on in. Lumped up forces and make mincemeat easily. Skeletons are charging on in. Across the line, though, the Golden Host of Mahrak makes themselves felt. We'll get a good charge on in here. Of course, they're also getting a charge into the backs of some unarmored zombies. Their favorite targets. Beautiful. You should slice through them quickly. Blood absolutely everywhere. It is a jelly fest. Moving on though, the Blood Knights were defeated. Settra had to pull on away from combat, and we're just using his spells to kind of keep everyone healed up and performing their best in combat, especially since Apophis is dueling with the enemy Lord currently. Gideon felt ripping himself from the earth there. Chariots are a bit bogged down. The good news is the skeleton spearmen do not quite have the damage potential that other spearmen of other races might, so we are able to kind of bully them with the chariots, even when we normally would not be able to. Settra charging back in to deliver the final blow. He's fallen, and he shouldn't get up, especially if Nekaph's going to give him another smack on his back. And that is the end for this raiding force. They should have already known. This was their only fate. Another Lord of the Drakenhof proven weak. His legions torn asunder. Settra nearly got brought down by those Blood Knights, but he brought them down as well as Prince of Office. Without Prince of Office, that would have been a nightmare for Settra. Let's go ahead and gain another Endless March, because we didn't really take much damage except for to Settra himself. More money and movement. And Prince of Apophis now has gained the Scarab Carapace. Prince of Apophis's form is made of swirling scarabs, the tide of ever-renewing insects. Though lacking the ability for true flight in this form, Apophis is able to muster considerable energies to give himself a burst of speed, which can be terrifying for his opponents. As one would expect, there's all his speed. He's up to 66%, 15 extra charge bonus, and then 20% more movement range for our Lord's army. And we were successful. The Wet Walker is defeated. Let's try to not go into March stance. Walk normally into Kimry. Oh, you know what? I should have come back this way. That was foolish. We will learn the hard way then. Gain some Basteti at some point. These guys are actually quite fun. They're little tomb kitties. They also have a tomb swarm ability that's pretty good. We're going to grab Boom Strike for Prince Nebethar, giving him an additional 30% damage and 24 rather, melee attack, and his ability to cause terror. He should already be pretty terrifying in mummy form in combat, but you know how it is. And for Nekaph, we're going to quickly keep moving towards Fatal Blow, giving him an additional 50% weapon damage and 15 attack, making him a very, very good duelist. We're going to go for hard to hit, keep him in there fighting longer. The Prince himself, since again, we're not fighting humans just yet, I'm going to hold off on this one. And probably just go for hard to hit. Keep that melee defense moving on up. Closing in on getting this Scarab art. You just need to be rank 11 for that one. And then for Settra here, since I don't think I'm actually going to recruit any more soldiers on in. Still at tier 1 here, so we don't actually have any extra tomb guards rolling around for us. Not yet, at least. So what we will do is jump into March stance, as I should have done already. I guess we can use the roads to get down here a little quicker. Getting down to Bagar is going to be a bit difficult. So we will use... Let's go. Now we don't want to trespass again, do we? We already have this turn, so we'll sneak back through. Hopefully that doesn't count second time there. Doesn't look like it does. We're at 3,900. This one is actually on upgrading, so what we're going to do, come over here to Qatar and upgrade to the Mastaba. Perfect, get that moving. Ka-Sabar, we can also go ahead and upgrade to a Mastaba as well.
Prostrate yourself and pray that I do not order your obliteration.
Looks like Khorne has decided to ignore their initial first enemy and come directly after us. I'm guessing he was camping right here and waiting to attack Numos after he saw what we did. Oh, let it begin. And a very interesting decision, he didn't finish off the Savage Works. This is an army we would have absolutely no chance of defeating. We do have a wizard that has the... What spells do you possess, sir? Or do you possess any spells at all? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, we'll give this one to auto-resolve. We would have no choice. No chance at all.
To war for Nehekhara!
And Skarbrand chooses to simply raise the settlement and run away. Not very cornate of you to stab me in the back and run away. We gained a new mission, though. The kingdom expands. Capture and occupy a settlement belonging to any of the enemies of the Nekaph dynasty. Listen, Nekaph, we will have to get to that once we deal with Skarbrand here. Unfortunately, he has jumped in on us, which is not something I was expecting just yet. I figured he would, but only after he finished off the Savage Orcs. So we need to turn, and we can't even rebuild Numos this turn, unfortunately. So what we will do instead...
Does not serve.
is kind of sprint on over. I think an ambush is probably not a bad idea. See if we can't draw Skarbrand in. He thinks Kimry is undefended. We can lure him in and defeat him. We need to hold out for at least 3 more turns, because that is when we can bring in our Vizier of Qatar. The very first lord we're going to recruit is going to be Sahinismet, the Vizier. He is, I can allow this to sit, he's a gigantic, he's a Hyra Titan with a big old scythe. If I did not already go over that, he's an amazing unit. He is a master of constructs. I don't think it shows off his construct ability right here. I can't quite find it, but he has all sorts of abilities that boost up constructs, faction, or not faction-wide, but in his whole army. So we are going to sit Settra there, continue to defend. Awesome, War has 3 turns until that is going to be upgraded. I think we're going to grab the Crypt Barracks while we can then. We'll gain some money after we fight Skarbrand. The battle against Skarbrand is going to be unlike we fought before. This is going to be quite a battle. A choice of servants. A Tomb Prince, Necrotect, and Lich Priest into your throne room and offer themselves in your service. We could call it a Tomb Prince, a Lich Priest, or a Necrotect. Or we could accept a gift of 3,500 gold. Which at this point in time doesn't help us because we're needing to reclaim lost territory. I think the Lich Priest is going to be the one for us. We don't have enough constructs just yet. Necrotects, I believe, allow us to increase our technology, though. That's a tough choice. Powerful spellcaster, giving us more magic, or a healer of constructs. Oh, I'm very wrong. I should have just read this. These guys give mobility and income, and these ones give more research rate. So let's go for the Lich Priest. We gained a Priest of Shadows, interestingly enough. So they get start off with a Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma, and of course their Curse of Xar. So he is able to hurry up and run on around. So when y'all say he's able to increase our technology, he doesn't seem to be able to steal technology like I'm pretty sure the other one is. Ah, Keeper of Lore. Research rate by 2%. I was trapped. I mean, 2% is what it is. We do need the Lich Priests. Okay, oh, and he also apparently generates jars naturally. He is wise, and that is why. We need as many wise fellows as we can get. Okay, we will not throw him into Settra's army for now, and I really need to resettle Numos quickly. I'd like to lure Skarbrand in. Biggest issue is we don't know where Skarbrand actually is. So I think we can most sacrifice Prince Nebethar here, head on up and see where our hated rival is. Where did Skarbrand go? He's a disrespectful sort. Alright, so Settra, we need to resettle Numos if we have the gold. This is an unfortunate setback. Oh, we don't have the gold to colonize. That's expensive. Okay, Barek then, I kind of need to send south and keep an eye on the undead. We need to know what Mannfred's up to, since we weren't able to just finish him off there. See if we can gain any gold from our diplomacy. No, the Nekaph are not going to be willing to give us much. and they're at war with Sigmar and the Origo. If we sign a non-aggression with them, these two factions are more likely to declare on us. We don't need any additional enemies just yet. We're going to hold off on that. Looks like we were not able to lure a Skarbrand into a trap, and he actually has raised Gorgazon, which makes me think he is probably currently right here waiting to move on Khemri. Khemri has a fairly decent army. My main hope would be that we can at least butcher his forces so that we can force Skarbrand to run. What we have to do with Settra, though, is resettle Numas. We need full control of this settlement. I think the Silver Host was coming over to try to settle Numas themselves. After recolonizing, we don't have the gold to turn it into a crypt even, so we're going to have to sit here for a turn, which is a little bit unfortunate. We'll send Prince Nehekhara over to see if he can't sniff out where Skarbrand is hiding. That's very interesting. Maybe he went north, declared war on us, and just ran. Settra himself has gained yet another skill point. I think it is a good idea to grab the Restless Minions. Get us extra recruitment capacity for Tomb Guard and Chariots because we are going to need them for when Skarbrand shows up. But while Settra's sitting here in Numas, we can jump on in and recruit in some more Tomb Guard. And I think what we'll do is we'll leave our Nehekhara warriors in, but I do believe that the Zandri Black Shields are going to have to be replaced just because they don't have any armor piercing and they just don't have as much armor. So the Black Shields we are going to disband since we don't have another army that we can make use of these just yet. Good news is they will hopefully go back in and we'll be able to recruit them after 10 turns. Then we'll come in here and grab Tomb Guard. I don't want Tomb Guard times 2. Although more Chariots also. So a line of 3 Tomb Guard and then another Archer Chariot until Prince Nehekhara comes back.
Keep my own.
Now that we're back in control of the Land of the Dead, we can put in the Worship of Ptra. That's going to be what we need here. Keep that growth going on up, even if we're not able to make use of it just yet. It's good to throw it on up in the background.
The realm of souls. You call what?
And actually, since the Top Knots are currently doing battle with Skarbrand, we are going to go ahead and sign a non-aggression pact with them and take some money. Just because we do not want them to randomly attack us, and getting some extra Savage Orcs on side, or at least not against us, they're only fighting Skarbrand, can only be useful. They will be useful idiots. We will use the money we gained from that negotiation to rebuild Numas into its crypts. Fortunate that we took that setback, but we will deal with it. We'll send Mahrak over into this territory. It looks like there are no lords just yet, so we do have time. If we can crush up here and smash the 2 Skarbrand settlements, I believe it's the Agrul Migdal, and then Death Gorge is either this direction or up further. And it is once again our turn, ruling from the glittering capital of Khemri. Settra bound the disparate priest kings into the single unity of kingdom, and lo, Nehekhara was born. We gain 1 additional army capacity, hit to our research rate, and then we unlock the upgrades: Xar's Desert Wind, the Rite of Sekhmet's Spite, Settra's Legacy, and the Heavy Chariot Plating. And then we are beset. Your buildings have taken critical damage and can't perform their functions. Deploy the repair crews. We don't need this right now, Qatar. Oh, they only repair for 5. That's not so bad. Unfortunate that they're down for a turn, though. What we are going to do is, well, where did this army come from? Do they have another, faction? Or settlement somewhere? It says they only have 2. How did you recruit up an entire army in secret? That's some powerful stuff here. Let's see if Bereket here can cause any problems. He can only wound, hinder replenishment. That's not super helpful for us. I guess we can just follow them back up north. There are 2 massive armies coming to bother us. It's time to bring in the Vizier. Your will be done.
On your knees.
You get back into the Springs of Eternal Life. Let's get recruiting up some forces for you. You can get you your 4 archers. And then 2 Tomb Guard, I think, is going to be important to start. Take off 2 of those archers and replace those with chariots. Global will be too slow, so we're going to leave that off. Prince Nehekhara, we're going to send after... I would rather not. I always got another army coming on over with. That makes things extra difficult.
Only Khorne commands me.
Got a cultist with him as well. I think what we're going to try to do is another ambush there. So can Prince Nehekhara cause any problems to the army? Get assault units. They'll replenish it up whatever we assault, so that won't really be worth it. Alright, Settra, come on out. Jump into ambush. We'll probably have Prince Nehekhara come back into the army then, so we are going to remove one of these normal chariots, so probably the Thundering Legion here. Gotta get those names put back on the units, so the Thundering Legion, since they're the least unit ranked, I would prefer the ones with archers, since they're the exact same and have archers as well. So, these guys are out. And Nehekhara's in. In that case, with that same line of thinking, we're gonna come up here and replace... I was saying we're going to come over here and replace the archers with this unit here. And then chariot. And that works. I guess we don't get that unit added back to our... Oh, I mistakenly thought they were the archer chariots. That is entirely my fault. Come on into our dynasty research, see if we can't unearth something a little bit better. I think we'll go for the Ossuary Dirge. A first Dynasty Graveyard chant has been discovered, imbuing skeleton warriors with greater agility. It'll give us more melee attack and melee defense for all of our warriors and chariot units. Runic inscriptions, or the first Dynasty plans, gives us more armor for our chariots and weapon strength for our warriors and chariots as well. Kind of a tough call, but I think this is definitely going to be the one, just to increase their melee skills overall. And that will also unlock the ability to recruit the Tomb Bark, which is a floating boat. Got 700 gold left. Hennesmet is recruiting up. Hopefully he cannot reach the settlement this turn. That would cause all sorts of problems. Skarbrand is raiding the lands, stealing our skulls and loot. It is time to finish him off. Hopefully another army is not hiding in ambush behind him. It's not really Khorne's way, but you never know. It is time to do battle with Skarbrand. And now for a huge step up as far as difficulty and enemies we're facing. It's basically like trying to box the Hulk. So the plan is, I've got all of my heroes now together as one gigantic squad. We are going to try to beat down this poor Herald here on a blood... Well, I guess he is not a Herald, he's a Blood Reaper. On his Blood Throne. This is kind of a weak mount, so we were deciding to send him in and beat the brakes off of him as fast as we can, while the rest of our forces kind of try to draw out all of these Furies. Those get in on our archers, the archers will melt away like they are made of ice in the desert. And other analogies. Get going. They're flying on forward. Since they do have the arrows, they can harass the Furies from afar, keep some damage on. They have almost no armor. Try to keep these dogs moving towards our chariots so we can keep them away from the bloodletters and the like and just run them over. The duel has engaged in earnest with all of the heroes jumping all over the Blood Reaper. Look at his health melt. A few hits should be all it takes to bring him down. The Marauders do surround, and Skarbrand is coming on over, so we do have to hurry up. So we need all of the damage focused on Skarbrand instead of the Blood Reaper. Syrian's grip going down on Skarbrand for that free extra damage. He does have some spell resistance, but it will wear him down. Same thing with the Furies. They've got down in our chariots, but we've got to focus mostly on what's fighting Skarbrand. Blood Throne explodes violently. The Reaper going back to the Blood Throne. dogs got isolated and annihilated. Skarbrand is taking a lot of damage. Apophis nearly has him matched as far as weapon strength. Another hit goes down on Nekaph, who blocks it with his, I'm gonna say he blocks it with the banner. Skarbrand can't believe it. He's out of here. And now it's a short matter to wipe out the rest of these forces. All of the chariots are being dragged over from what they were doing just to try to get our heroes and lords out of combat. Fighting with Skarbrand took its toll, so we needed to get them away. Many are running, terrified, watching Skarbrand get annihilated by some mummies. It would scare anyone. How can you stand when your legs are crushed? Settra's forces have reassembled and charged on back in, under a rain of soul fire. Any routing forces are quickly being run down by the chariots in the back, trying to make sure they don't come back with any kind of strength at all. Because Settra can stand here and absorb all of the damage. Settra bows to nobody. Proving it there. The rest of our main body force hasn't even really moved up yet. We're just allowing our heroes to take the brunt of this damage, and our chariots, as we unfortunately lose one. More spells going down. We've got an isolated group of Chaos Warriors over on the side. Poor Marauders were having the worst day being run down as they ran. They will not be back. If they do decide to, they'll have a really bad day. Main body force was splitting up just a little bit here to deal with the two oncoming groups of Chaos Warriors, clad in their plate mail. They're going to be a bit more hardy than most forces we've fought so far. Arrows are going to blink kind of harmlessly off in most cases. Ones that do find their mark are going to hurt, but not as much as normal. Got the Golden Host charging on in. They alone will not be able to hold against these Chaos Warriors, but they're going to do their best. Bloodletters and Marauders are dying in droves around Settra, though. As the chariots charge in again and again, and some more soulfire rains down. Kind of ineffectively that time. Here we've got Tomb Guard facing off against Chaos Warriors. This is a fight the Tomb Guard would be happy to take. Oh, I guess the Chaos Warriors are running away. I was like, why are the Tomb Guard trying to escape? That's because the Warriors have broken. Them being so slow, they didn't have much time to fight at all. Their much quicker brethren charging on in and getting ridden down by Settra and his chariots. They are going to continue to round up the free chaff for the charnel pits, but this is a victory against Skarbrand. Settra does not bow to pathetic failed champions of Khorne. We will take the Endless March for the 2065 treasury. We almost tripped on that word there.
I have no use for these.
You have no use for his name is First. Well, we managed to kill Skarbrand and his hero, and we gained Blood Quencher, so the entire army has more weapon strength and charge bonus. That's going to be wonderful for our chariots. Nekaph now is on chariot. I think I'm going to keep him off the chariot. I like Nekaph being a foot duelist, if you will. Prince Nebethar is meant to be on a chariot, so we're going to keep him on his. For Settra, I think we do need to continue our march on the enemy. For Sehenismet, we could defend the Springs of Eternal Life. It's just really dependent on what Mannfred is using. The more casualties we inflict on him in combat, the more, or I guess the deeper his recruitment pool is going to become. Swing over here to Settra. Grab the Immortal King of Nehekhara, giving us the passive ability and the Tomb King's Road to War. for all of our chariots, giving us and him also 12% rather additional charge bonus, and then 10% physical resistance. And then the Tomb King's Road to War gives all of our chariots 200% additional mass, 24% speed, 24% charge speed, and 18% charge bonus. It's going to be enabled if the unit is charging. It's going to be quite awesome. And then for Nekaph, we have the Herald of Despair, giving us extra attrition to our defenders, or at least we are going to be inflicting extra attrition on defenders by 35%, and lowering enemy leadership by 8 in our local region. We'll go ahead and give him additionally hard to hit so we can work towards Vital Blow. For Prince Apophis, we have the Cultist Prince, giving us 10% spell resistance and less enemy winds of magic, which is not going to be really helpful against Skarbrand there. Entangling Thorax, however, gives him a ability where someone cannot move. Does a little bit of damage. Oh, I guess he can't move and he starts whipping his Thorax around. A Limb of Scarab stretches out to entangle and immobilize an unsuspecting victim. Sounds good. And then we will also go for the Entombed Menace, allows him to summon a unit of Syrian's Kepra Swarm. Or we could go for the Scarab Swarm ability there. Go for Scarab Swarm first. It's a non-armor piercing, but it does some magical damage, so it'll be very good against Khorne. Or very, I guess, not good against Khorne. They don't have a lot of armor, but they have a good bit of spell resistance. For Prince Nebuthar, we could either give him Loyal Lieutenant, Heir of the Chariot King, or the Cultist Prince. Or we could work down here and make him a little bit stronger. Devastating Charge over my dead body. I think we'll go for the Royal Lieutenant, giving him additional 8 melee attack and 5% more hit points. And then we'll come over here and give it probably Wound Maker, give him a little bit more damage. And then I think we need to move in and defeat this army and try to smash as much of Skarbrand's nonsense as we can. We'll charge on in here to first. We'll take that one to auto-resolve. Chopped in half. Doom Prince took a bit of damage there. I think this time we'll go for the Canopic Jars. Harvest them on up. Ooh, leveling on up Assured Assailant. And then we will go into March Stance and get back into friendly territory so we're not taking any extra attrition for no reason. No additional skill points gained from that very small battle, which is fair enough, it's what we expected. We will jump the Lich Priest into Sehenismet's army. I think if we try to recruit more, he will simply move in and attack with both of these armies. So I think Sehenismet needs to retreat away from the Springs of Eternal Life towards Qatar. We will probably have to use this settlement as bait. But I do also think he's going to be attacking Ka-Sabar. Either way, we're going to have to be regaining our lost territory after Skarbrand's surprise attack. So for Sehenismet, I think we'll just kind of hang out here.
Cease.
Yeah.
Do not mock me.
That's what we're going for. More archers, a couple more chariots, and then we need some more frontline as well. So we'll do one of these archers back and then more frontline. That looks good. And Sehenismet himself is an absolute monster. We need to get him some Ushabti to help him on out. We have 5,000 gold to work with now. Sounds good to me. I think very firstly I would like to put in some walls at Khemri, which is going to take a good chunk of our income away, unfortunately. But we have to keep Khemri safe. After that, I believe we'll come over to Qatar here and put in the... thinking about another Charnel Plaza for the extra income. We may just upgrade the one here at Khemri itself. Tough decisions. We'll have to retake Ka-Sabar, and so that's where that upgrading is going to be going. So maybe we come over here to Qatar then. Turn it into a mausoleum. That'll take away 2 of our overall growth points. Tough call. I think we'll go for the Avenue of Monuments. And then at Qatar, we will go for the Charnel Plaza. Make us a little bit more money. And then we can upgrade the Royal Barracks to Tier 3. Giving us access to the Great Weapon Tomb Guard, as well as the Tomb Guard with Halberds. So we can kind of replace the Blades of Qatar with Great Weapon Tomb Guard. The foul forces of Drakenhof have moved on over to lay siege. If I was to attack them, I would have to face both forces at once, and Sehenesmet has very good attack, but it's only 460, which is very on par with most others. In fact, it's below most of my other troops we have at this point, so he's going to be fine in combat, but he won't perform quite as well as I'm thinking. He will do slightly better than one of their wizards. He's obviously a big boy, so he'll be a very large target, and they've got a lot of units here, so we're going to wait on that one. What I'd like to do is have Settra strike back against... If we attack this, we're going to gain a plague. Which plague is this? League of the Crow. Enables attrition for non-chaos worshipping armies. In that case, I don't want to mess with them at all. I was going to go over and bother Skarbrand, attack that army, and sack the settlement, but if we do, we're going to gain a plague. And I would prefer we don't do that, so let's scoot on over to reinforce our armies here. And then what we are going to do is immediately, instead of going into that other battle, we need some more money. So I would like to jump on into the Crown of Nehekhara battle, gaining us the Crown of Nehekhara, 5,000 additional treasury, some more replenishment, and some jars. The army we are going to have to face is one of Chaos. Quite a few Marauders with weapons of the Great there. A couple Chaos Knights, some Javelinos, and then a good deal of Trolls with that low leadership. We do have to worry about these Hell Cannons. That's going to be their scariest unit there. But if we can use our speed to get around behind them and disrupt and destroy, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Let's teleport on over for 500 gold, because we have the amount, and get this handled. Ludred. He's basically a Pokemon. Prepare to die, sir. Settra surveys the world around him and finds it wanting. All will submit to his rule, all will serve the King of Kings. But a king requires a crown, and his has been stolen by tomb-defiling Northmen as he slept away the ages. It must be recovered. His agents bring word of a place deep in the distant Icetooth Mountain, where Norscan savages brazenly display wit and wealth far above their barbaric station. Though they know they harbor a relic of great significance, they cannot begin to understand its true import. The ruler of the Four Horizons will teach them, though in death, they will not remember his merciless lesson.
Today, we dispatch these faithless barbarians, these petty thieves, in tribute to Jaff, the god of war and death. He will feast as the jackal dies and grow fat on their souls. For who dares stand before Settra in defiance of his will? I am the King of Kings, the Imperishable, and I will see my crown returned.
It is time to reclaim our lost crown. These northern fools. So we're going to be a bit cautious to start, although sending Settra and all the heroes out front, we actually cannot see a majority of these forces until we get much, much closer. So we're kind of sending all of the speedy units out front, the ones that can fire from afar and get away if they need to, and kind of just arraying the rest of these troops to get ready for what may be charging our way. Since we know there's trolls and knights and the like out here, we've got to be careful. Hell cannon shots flying on in. That alerts me that we've got some enemies in the woods, so we've got the entire force moving on over. Gonna take some hits on the way in. Dodged that one, though. There are 2 hell cannons hiding in the woods over here, as well as some great axe marauders. Barbarian fools. An ambush from the woods with heat-seeking, pulsating cannons. We're actually getting some pretty good hits in on our chariots, but we haven't lost a model yet, so they can be healed up. No problem. Another direct hit, even though it looked like we may have been able to dodge. But all of our lords are charging right on in, trying to dodge the Marauders there. I just decided that he needed to move in and distract them while Settra attacked the cannon. Blasting them back, making them a little bit more susceptible and blinded. Nekaph charging on it as well. They're not going to be doing as much damage in the woods, but we need to melt through these cannons as fast as we can. The Chaos Knights had emerged from the woods. I had sent the chariots up just to harass and prepare to give them a bit of damage, and while we waited for our heroes to kill these cannons. Apophis unfortunately was getting caught up on terrain and the like. Using their super speed to get on out of there. Still just harassing these knights. Not a lot of damage, but we can see them bleeding so they can die. The men in the woods were emerging, and we were still kind of moving up very passively just to make sure we didn't get ambushed by any groups of trolls. Kind of smash right through the line of skeletons like they don't exist. Doom Prince charging right on into the Chaos Knights. They do tower above him, but he fears nothing. Taking a bit of damage, but Settra's going to give him some assistance with some spells. While they still just work through those units in the woods there, the cannon's completely wiped out. We just have to worry about the Marauders coming on back, and no one's concerned with Marauders. Settra's charge, unseating 2 horsemen, quickly killing even more. They should have run while they had the chance. The rest of our chariots have charged into the Chaos Knights, just causing some damage. They do struggle quite a bit, but we have limited options. In the cavalry department, the nerf of the Marauder Horsemen coming into play here. Normally they'd sit there and throw their javelins at us regardless, but they're just able to give us little pokes this time. We're going to continue to harass, chase off this group of Marauders. Settra has terrified the Chaos Knights, while Nekaph's chariot does a little dance. Big group of men streaming out of the woods. Souls are kind of blasting into the forest completely ineffectively. As the Space Marines charge out. Needed to get these chariots out of the fight with those Chaos Knights as quickly as we could. We're hoping to break them faster, but it just wasn't in the cards. Of course, like I said, was continuing to kind of just sit over here and prepare. We were not sure where the enemy were going to come from, and they were streaming out of the woods on this side, so they could have attacked. It matters not how tall your horses are. Settra seems to have a hard time swinging, though. The Syrians screaming in our ear, so we're going to move over here to watch the Northmen get run down. Tomb King's riding to war is going to be coming into place much more on the infantry. We won't see it as much on the very heavy cavalry. Anytime they impact infantry, it should hurt much, much more. And they should also punch through lines much more aggressively. They've been dragging that horse along. Absolutely annihilating them. Chevron of Mahrak getting here just a little bit late. They're real excited to be here, though. Their green cloaks stained with blood. It's funny to see the ones who like gain the super speed when they're running away. Got our chariots just kind of staying out of the woods, and Nekaph, or Apophis rather, has charged on in with his dripping slayer. We're just trying to see who all's out here, and we know he can handle them with his ethereal. These men are going to be doing nothing to Apophis. Axes smacking against him completely harmlessly. He's just going to swim here for a moment instead of swinging. Come on, Apophis, get him a smack. Your dripping slayer is wasted. But the rest of the men are kind of wisely staying in the tree line. They don't want to get ridden down by chariots. Problem is, Settra and his Tomb Prince are going to come to you. And the men of the north have lost their nerve, and they've charged on out. Discipline breaking. Need to get those chariots in gear. Whole bunch of unarmored lads here to ride down. Some of them splitting up to go help out with the forces emerging from the woods here as the others charge on in. Settra getting some beautiful assistance. That unit completely melting away. Here we got some a little bit weakened chariot archers charging on in as well. Nekaph beating them down. Oh, and 2 units of marauders completely deleted. There were 2 units of marauders there a second ago, and now there are not. There is but a bloody pile. We do still have this last remaining group in the forest here, and it does consist of those trolls I was so concerned about. Trolls, the giant, they're all hiding in the forest, listening to the screams of their marauder allies. But those marauders are entirely shattered, so we just need to round the forces up, get them back into formation. There was a slight skirmish over here in the woods. It did not last very long at all. Not really sure why I was sending these troops this way. It was again, we weren't really sure where the next group was coming from, but we knew they were out there somewhere. Glittering golden host. And then the surprise trolls attacking in on the chariots. They had a heart attack there. I ran some last-second arrows into those guys' foreheads. Luckily, they are quite a bit faster than trolls, and they're able to break away. But that alerted us to their presence, and Settra and his Herald have charged on over, ready to deal death. Gotta get the rest of these guys back out of the woods. But again, I knew the chariots were not going to perform very well against the trolls or the giants, so we wanted to kind of keep them back. Settra deal his damage. That anti-large halberd swinging in bloody arcs. Each poke doing a very considerable amount of damage, but that giant with their buff is going to do a lot of damage per swing to Settra. Bam, as you see there. So as I noticed this, Settra needs to pull out of combat very quickly. Giants are no joke anymore. They're good at sniping out lords and heroes. Papas can handle some filthy trolls, no problem. Most of their blows are going to be glancing off him effectively. Tomb King's right on into war. Knocking the Chaos Lord from his feet, and actually one of the trolls as well. Showing that mass increase. Routing the trolls. Shattering them. And the leadership of the last 2 quickly falters as well. All we want is our crown. You should leave. Giant waddles on away. Receives another blast of soulfire, and that is the victory. Settra's crown reclaimed. Man, you were crusty. Foolish barbarians hunted down, crushed, and our crown once again restored. We are going to again go for the Endless March. We need all of the money. Although I'm very tempted by the replenishment, we need all of the cash we can get. And we gained the Regiment Renown, the Blessed Legion of Fox. The skeleton archers existing only to serve the hot god's blessed archers deliver his swift justice, a rain of death from above, long after their own lives have ended. And Settra is now upon a Kymrian war sphinx. Who is going to stand against the great king now? The constructs are starting to roll out. Gain some more followers, and Apophis has gained the Scarab Heart, giving perfect vigor to all of the Tomb Swarm in our army. And Sock's Tomb Guardians, as well as giving himself, or I guess our army, Tomb Swarm ×2, and then more unit capacity for Assyrians, Kepler Swarm, and some Tomb Swarm. There's a pretty massive storm going on around me, so if I sound like I'm shouting, that'll be why. And hopefully you can't hear the the rain beating down on the roof. The crown was claimed. And before we go any further, we're going to make sure we hand out these skill points to Settra and the team. I think we're going to go for Restless Minions to give our chariots Vanguard deployment and an additional 5. No, they already have the 5 attack. But they do get Perfect Vigor for Herald Nekaph when he is embedded. Sounds good to me. And then additionally, we will go for... Founder of Khemri gives me more Tomb Princes. This would give us more melee defense on those chariots. I think we shall go for... Founder of Khemri gives you some really good buffs, huh? Grab these Sun-Scorched Bones. Then we'll swing over here to Nekaph. You can go for Fatal Blow, which is something I'm really interested in, but Settra's champion would give Settra 10% extra weapon strength, 8 more melee attack, and 8 more melee defense. The Title Recite would also give him more leadership effect and leadership aura size. I think we'll go for Settra's champion, though. Make Settra even stronger. Settra being up to 598 melee attack now on his War Kitty. Or weapon strength, rather. I think we're also going to grab Hematologist for Prince of Office because we are going to go for Settra's final quest battle. He's had a taste of his former power. It is time to reclaim all of it. I think the other thing we're going to go for is definitely going to be more weapon damage for Prince Nebethar. We could also give him the Terrifying Mask of E. I don't believe he causes terror just yet, but now he shall, so every impact he makes is going to be that much more potent, at least to Humies and the like. Alright. Let's go claim back the Blessed Blade of Ptra. We have the 500 to teleport, that's no big deal at all, let's get that going. We're going to be fighting against Logan Rockshake. He's got 3 groups of Slayers, some Iron Drakes, and some Super Squigs. Super Squig. Exploding Squig. Lots of fun. And then Gernhardt Swaft with his Empire Soldiers, a Giant, interestingly enough, and some Mortars. So a Squig-wielding Dawi and a Giant-wielding Men of the Empire. Very interesting. What's the map looking like? Got a split deployment. Settra the Imperishable demands a statue be raised in his own image, an effigy of pure magnificence. Naturally, it must be built only from the finest materials, and should hold in its colossal hand a recreation of the Blessed Blade of Ptra. Suddenly infuriated by this marble testament to the forgotten glories of his youth, the Eternal Sovereign becomes desirous to wield the white-hot sword of legend once more. As Settra draws near to its reliquary in the Charnel Valley, his scouts report activity. A glory-hunting alliance of dwarves and men is here in force. Fires of fury are stoked within Settra's withered heart. They dare defile this place. Settra will send a mighty tribute to the realm of souls this day.
I alone may wield the blessed blade of Ptra. For am I not his right hand, the bringer of the fires of the sun? Today, I offer him a fine tribute indeed. 1,000 souls or more, each an idolater, a heathen, and an enemy of Nehekhara. May this please you, mighty Ptra, bringer of the day, for it is the last these unbelievers will ever see.
We will have to see if this combined host can keep Settra's Blessed Blade from him. Let the battle begin. The enemy is wielding some Squig Herd, random explosive Squig, whole heap of flamethrowers, some Slayers to kind of take down any of my large units I might have, and then a decent chunk of heavy artillery. Go with this big Chungus. Let the battle begin. Settra on his War Kitty is going to be bounding on over into combat. We want to shut down these mortars as absolutely quickly as we can. The dwarves being as slow as they are mean they're going to have a really hard time facing us, so I'm sending the main body army this direction with all of the chariots to kind of run down the squigs that move out front. super exploding squid off to the side. And then the Casket of Souls is going to kind of Roomba on over after them. But we wanted to surround and destroy the most mobile units first, so all of the heroes charging in on the artillery as the rest of the force moves around. Kitty's bounding on in, ready to get some blood. Still just trying to scoot around the line. Don't want to get bogged down in those soldiers just yet. We have the chariots for that. Riding several men down. Chariots moving over into position still. And unfortunately, Apophis he's scooting along as quickly as he can, but he's not quite that fast. An amazing charge. We got a little bit of strangeness with the models. The enemy accidentally blasting apart their own men with mortars. Not generally what you want to do, but friendly fire isn't unheard of. Got them moving on in to harass the Slayers. Is a perfect target for them since the Slayers are unarmored. I believe they are able to... Whirling axes, they are able to block some fire there, but they aren't able to block all. Mortars still able to blast in on us. A good majority of their infantry line has broken and run for the hills, though. Settra is quite weak, but we do trust that he on his war kitty can held in there. Especially with Apophis cutting the giant's ankles down. First artillery blast going on in. And a rain of arrows slicing apart those squigs. Lightly armored mushroom lads. Super squig bouncing on in. It's trying to find a target. Would really like to get in on our infantry there, but had a hard time. Exploded on one of our chariots, bringing them quite down though. These squigs are a mixture of terrified and wavering. They should be on out of there soon. And a couple of that chariot squad did go down to searing flame, but retribution will be ours. We got the chariots moving on in to reinforce and wipe out those heavily armored iron drakes. Got caught up in the Slayers just a little bit, which is not ideal. But in they thunder. Back on the other side, they're just wrapping up with a couple of the mortar crews. Valaya's curse. How about the curse of the rolling wheel? Flamethrowers do hurt. But Soda's getting crushed. Stops them from firing. They keep charging back in. Slayers who have hit the front line there got picked apart by the arrows. The golden host of Mahrak has just kind of sprinted around. Done a good deal of nothing. The giant and his general are faring quite well against Apophis. He is sitting currently at 85%. If I can click on him here. 85% physical resistance has dropped down to 75, or 70 rather, without his allies nearby. That was counting it with the Guardian bonus active. Many, many lads of the Empire ridden down. Whip right for their back. This army is defeated. It's just for Apophis to defeat this giant. He receives a blow from the mighty tree trunk. A couple more slices and it should be down. The chariots are dealing with the filthy stunties. Having a hard time staying on their feet with the chariots being the same size as them as the wheels. Some flames going in though, doing some good damage. If we didn't keep them tied down, they were able to blast away. They did a good chunk of damage to us. But with both the Nehekhara and Crown and the Blade of Ptra, as long as we don't lose a unit, they will replenish right on up. The Golden Host has finally made it on in. They're not scared of you. They've run all the way across the desert, only to get doused down with flames. Yeah, they hit them once and then immediately broke. Broken bone and torn flesh. But the Blessed Blade of Ptra won back with blood and souls. No one was going to keep the Blessed Blade of Ptra from Settra. Definitely not this weak group. We only lost 82. They went ahead and slayed 162 for Settra, 127 for Prince Nehekhara. Anyone that was chariot bound did very good work. These guys not as much, but I was keeping them out of melee as much, so they weren't getting to use their gigantic charge bonus. I think for this one, we are going to also go for the Harvesting of Organs, just for a little bit more canopic jars to awaken some more regiments around and the like. We gained a Charnel Valley Necrotect. Ranked up in mountain climate. Gained less construction cost for infrastructure buildings in our local province. That is never negative. Blessed by the god of the sun, the sword's white-hot edge is infused with the desert's baking heat, setting the air itself ablaze with and blinding the foe. It's basically a capacious lightsaber, which is great. Plus 3 control, winds of magic rather cost for -10 for Ptra's Invocation of the Desert Sun, upgraded, so they'll drop it down to 16, I believe. Which, that looks pretty insane. Plus 5 melee attack, magical attacks, a 10% weapon strength, and then the ability, an augment for flaming attacks, blinded, and magical attacks. Even though it already has those, which is interesting. Was successful. Stocking on up with those canopic jars.
Settra does not serve.
Let's hand out some skill points here. We gained 1 additional. I think we should go for Founder of Khemri to give us an additional capacity for Tomb Princes, but we're not going to actually recruit him yet. We're going to wait till we gain a couple more skill points, because with this it gives +2 to the recruitment rank. With the next one it gives +4, and if we grab this one it gives an additional +2, so we will see exactly who all gives us. I don't know if anyone else gives more additional levels to our Tomb Princes besides just Settra, but we should have some very, very learned Tomb Princes off the cuff. For Nekaph, we will go ahead and give him the title recite, continuing to make Settra even better. Next, we'll go for the Fatal Blow. He is Settra's champion. After all, he would make sure Settra is all maxed out before he worked on himself. For Prince Apophis, I have yet to figure out how to use the Scarab Swarm. We have to keep figuring that one on out, so we will give the point instead over here to Cultist Prince for now, just to make sure our enemies that are mages have a little bit less magic to use. And then for Prince Nehekhara, continue to work on his overall weapon strength. 563 is not bad. Alright, and with that, Settra will once again take to his advisor chamber. Hope you all enjoyed part 2 of our Settra campaign. Any advice, tactics, unit names, or otherwise, take to the comments and let's start a discussion. But I'm out of time for today. I have been Space Wizard to the War. Remember to leave a like for the like god and a sub for the sub throne, and I will see you on the next one.